I used to work the overnight shift at a commercial cleaning service in Milwaukee. We'd rotate between office buildings after hours. Empty floors, quiet lobbies, long glass corridors. It wasn't glamorous, but the money was good, and I didn't mind the solitude. That was, until I started working the Edison building downtown. It was a 12-story office complex with mostly law firms and tech startups. I was assigned the 9th and 10th floors, vacuuming, wiping desks, restocking restrooms. The entire building was like a ghost town after 7 p.m., with just a few lights left on for emergency purposes. One night, I was finishing up the kitchenette on the 10th floor when I noticed something strange in the break room's window. The room was dark except for my flashlight, but the window reflected more than just me. There was a shape, tall, hunched, standing in the reflection behind me. I spun around. No one there. I froze, staring into the dark corners of the room, heart pounding. I tried to convince myself it was a shadow, maybe a trick of the light. I turned off the flashlight. When the room went pitch black, I waited a second and then flicked the light back on. There it was again, in the reflection, closer. This time, I didn't wait. I grabbed my supplies and practically ran to the elevator. I reported it to my supervisor, who just laughed and said the Edison building had always felt off. I refused to go back. A week later, a coworker took my shift. She quit the same night. When I asked why, all she said was, "The break room window lies." Back in 2016, I worked as a night security guard at a small retirement home in Pennsylvania. My job was simple: walk the halls, monitor the camera feeds, and respond if any residents needed help. Most nights were peaceful. Some light TV noise, maybe a confused resident wandering around. Nothing I couldn't handle. But one night, something changed. It was just after 2 a.m. when I noticed movement on the hallway cam outside room 104. A tall man in a hospital gown was walking slowly down the corridor. I assumed it was Mr. Collins. Tall guy, early stages of dementia, liked to walk at night. So I got up to escort him back. But when I turned the corner into the hallway, it was empty. No footsteps, no doors opening, just silence and the smell of antiseptic. I checked room 1-4. The door was shut. Mr. Collins was asleep, snoring softly in his bed. I was creeped out, but I chalked it up to a camera glitch, maybe delayed footage or something. An hour later, the same figure appeared again, same spot, same walk. This time I watched the monitor carefully. He passed by room 16, then vanished, mid-step. Just blinked out. I rewound the footage again and again, and every time the figure disappeared in the same frame. I checked with the day staff the next morning. The head nurse paled when I described the man. She said years ago a resident had died in that hallway, collapsed right outside 16. Tall guy, nightgown, alone. She asked if I saw him walk all the way down. I said no, he always vanished. Her voice went quiet. Then he still doesn't know he's dead. I was 22 when I got hired for the night shift at a 24-hour grocery store in Southern California. My job was mostly restocking and organizing the back storage area. Not exactly thrilling, but it was quiet, and I was left alone, just how I liked it. The store had a large stock room divided into sections, each numbered. I was told to avoid storage room 7 because it had a leak and the ceiling was unstable. Fair enough. But a few weeks into the job, I started hearing noises coming from behind the locked door. Knocking, slow, repetitive. First I thought it was rats, but it sounded too rhythmic, like knuckles. I told my manager, but he brushed it off and said, "Don't open that door, ever." That night, I stayed late to finish an inventory count. Around 3 a.m., I heard it again. Knock, knock, knock. But this time there was a whisper behind it. I couldn't make out words, just the low hum of a voice that sounded more like breath than speech. I tried to ignore it. Then, the next night, the door was unlocked. I swear I didn't touch it. No one else worked back there but me. I opened it a crack and found the room completely empty. No leak, no damage. Just a clean, cold space filled with dust and silence. I turned to leave, and the door slammed shut behind me. I screamed, pounded. No one came. Then I felt something move behind me in the dark. A breeze, ice cold, and the sound of something dragging across the concrete floor. Suddenly, the door creaked back open on its own. I ran. I never worked another night shift in my life. And those were 3 true night shift horror stories. Unsettling reminders that after midnight, the world changes. When most people are asleep and the streets go quiet, something else wakes up. Something that moves through locked doors, flickers in screens, or waits just beyond the light. Whether it's a ghostly figure caught on a hallway camera, whispers behind a storage room door, or reflections that don't match reality, these stories prove that working alone at night doesn't always mean you're alone. So if you ever find yourself on the graveyard shift, trust your instincts. Check the cameras twice. Avoid the hallway with no heat. And if you hear knocking when there shouldn't be anyone there, don't answer. Not everything in the night wants to be seen. If one of these stories gave you chills, tell us which one kept you awake. And if you've ever had something unexplainable happen while working late, we want to hear about it in the comments. Be sure to like, share, and subscribe for more terrifying true tales. Until next time, keep your lights on, and whatever you do, don't turn your back on the dark.